Good morning. Steve wanted to know if it was that
Morning.
time again. Yeah, it's that time again.
It's that time again. Good morning.
Sorry about the 9 p.m. thing, guys. I put the show up late last night and I wasn't paying attention. Actually, it wasn't late. It was only about 8:30, but I was getting ready to go to bed because I was beat. So I didn't pay attention to it, but it's fixed now and you're here and all's good in the world.
It was probably too many cold ones.
Yeah, there was a few consumed on the golf course yesterday. Anyway.
How did you do?
Oh, not bad. I shot 91, but had 3 8s on the back. So you factor that in, it wasn't too bad around.
Was that due to the amount of beverage consumption? Is that
The
why
eights?
that happens?
The 8s? No,
Yeah.
that was from lack of talent. Is what that was from. No, it wasn't from the beverage consumption, that's for sure. Anyway, guys, just so everybody knows, and I'll kind of go over this again at the end of the show. I got everybody's name that was in chat last week. You're in the contest for the drawing. And all the new ones I'll put up this week. And anybody that I also added anybody that commented on the show after the fact, I got them in there too. So we got a pretty good group so far in the contest, but we'll be drawing 3 gift certificates next week, and then maybe another week or so, maybe close to Christmas, we'll do some more. So because we've got the money for it. So anyway, Jerry's on his way to a train show, I think. Bill is flying back from Iowa to Richmond as we speak. And I don't know if Shannon's going to show up or not. But anyway, you get the 3 of us, the 3 Stooges.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
So, Steve, you want to tell us who's in chat?
Well, we got quite a crew. Let's see. Good morning, Floyd Robbins. Good morning, Rob T. Man. Chuck, CDP 1965. Good morning, Chuck. How are you? My buddy Bernard. Oh, wow. Let's see. Did I say Ray Bertelson? Spike Man. That's good. Allison. Good morning, Allie. Kyle Stevens. Dave BNSF. Let's see. Lynn McCurdy. Good morning, Lynn. Let's see. We don't have a lot. Is that it? Randy Doman. Good morning, Randy. And that's what I'm seeing. Oh, wait a minute. We got Roy Hardwick. Good morning, Roy. Mark Pruitt. Good morning, Mark. And I don't know. Is that it? I guess that's it.
All righty.
Anyway, good morning.
Good morning. Good to see everybody. Yeah. So what are we going to talk about, guys?
Nope, that's
We
our
can
show.
start-
Thanks for coming.
Yeah. Well, let's start with the pictures Bill sent me. So Bill sent a few pictures since he couldn't be here of his move to Iowa. And just so everybody knows, all the trains got up there with very little disruption. Get that where I can't see it. Make this smaller here. There we go. Now I can get it up there. Okay, this is the obviously the U-Haul that he had to work with, and then he was pulling a trailer with his car on the back of it. And then he did, let's see. Oh, this is showing, get this off there. This is, I guess, some of the layouts, how he was doing the layouts to get them in there. He said he had some very minor stuff, maybe a little bit of ballast and some other stuff that was going to be pretty easy to fix that came off. So he said all in all, he was happy with the trip, even though he wasn't happy with the roads going over there, but everything made it okay. And so he's going to set back up as soon as he can. Here's a shot of the inside of his garage. As soon as I can get it up on the screen. This is the space he has to work with, which
Wow.
looks pretty nice. Yeah. Nice and
Yeah,
clean.
that's
Have
exciting.
Yeah, have that. See, it doesn't have anything on the wall, so you've got places he can run his electrical and stuff without having to pick
Yeah,
things
he
out,
can
which is nice.
tailor make where he wants his electricity to be, which is always a plus.
Yeah, and you can put it all over the place or no place, I guess, if you want to. But yeah, that's a killer spot to be able to put a layout. You know, being it's in Iowa, I would be concerned about temperature fluctuations and what it's going to do to the layouts.
I can't remember. Did he talk about putting like a mini split in there or anything like that?
I don't remember if he talked about that or not. But I would definitely do something like that, even if I
He
wasn't going to
should.
be there 6 months.
It's well worth it. Absolutely well worth it.
I don't
One
really
decision
know
I'm
what is.
glad I made in my space is I made it heat and air, and it pretty much stays constant year round in here for not a lot of money.
Okay, and this one shows the layouts in the wrong button. This shows the layouts in the garage, so you can see how much room he's still got. And that's okay. The front of the garage is on the right side, so that's front to back there, right to left. And his driving buddy sitting up there on the shelf watching, overlooking.
As I recall, the space was real similar to the space that I have.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Which is a great space for a model railroad.
And then here was his buddy helping him get to Iowa. We'll have to talk to him when he gets back on the show about how much interaction he had with people from that. But anyway, he got there okay, and he's, like I say, he's going back to Virginia to pick up his furniture. So I'm assuming he's going to rent another truck and do it that way. I don't know. But anyway, that's where Bill is today.
Yeah, Roy says that Supervisor Skeletor.
Oh yeah. Okay, so
Let's see.
What do we got?
What are they talking about? What are they talking about? Let's see. Rob T-Man says that's a portable earthquake.
Portable earthquake?
I guess that refers to the van bouncing the layout around.
Probably so. Yeah, having had model airplanes, RC airplanes on a trailer like that, I know all about the bouncing on the road.
Yeah. Bernard, mine is a Daikin. I can't think of, I don't know exactly how it's pronounced. Talk about my heating and air system in here.
Is that the one that caught fire?
Yeah, he wants to know if he used a Mitsubishi. Oh, no.
Yes, Roy, there is a train running, believe it or not. And it's actually running.
I guess Dennis went to see what brand that is, air conditioner he's got.
Is that the same one that caught fire a while back?
Did he have one catch fire?
Yeah, didn't he have a...
Oh, it's backwards.
No,
surely you can read that.
Yeah. Yeah, Daikin, or I guess that's how it's pronounced.
Yeah. Well worth the money.
Well, it seemed to do a good job when I was there. I didn't notice being uncomfortable. It was very comfortable in there. Of course, it wasn't, I don't remember it being real hot that day either.
No. But even, I mean, even if it's 112 out, it's comfortable in here. So, and it rarely ever gets below 0. So most of the time the heater will put you out of the room in the wintertime you deal with it.
Hey, we got Uncle Wilmer in the house. Good morning.
Yeah, and I'm getting him put on the contest list.
How are you doing, Wilmer? You got to get Dennis off the big screen. We don't want to look at him.
Yeah, this is starting to feel a little uncomfortable.
I know. Yeah.
Spikeman wants to know about the heat unit that caught fire. That's in the house.
It's been replaced. $12,000 later, I've got a brand new heating and air conditioning system in the house as well. Luckily, the house didn't burn down.
Yeah, that was in the main house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you were real lucky it didn't burn the house, catch the house on fire.
Yeah.
Randy Dillon wants to know where Bill moved to. I don't remember.
He moved to 2 places, right?
Well, no, in Iowa.
He's mentioned the name, but I can't recall it now. I say he's mentioned it. Maybe he hasn't. I don't know.
Well, yeah, well, the show, Dennis.
I can get the general location. I don't know exactly where he's at either, but I can get the general location. I'll put it up on the screen.
Mason City, is that it?
Get it to pull up. But yeah, he's in Iowa, and I want to say it was close to Waterloo. Does that sound right?
Yeah. Hey, good morning. Waycross Train Spotter. Is that new? I don't remember that. He says, hi, Claude, Steve, and Otter. Building a size 11.5 feet by 19 feet long. Been using any rail to design my SCL HO scale plan and debating between 28-inch and 30 radius.
Claude could take me off the big screen and put that whole comment up there.
That would be nice, huh?
There we go. There's an idea.
I put it on the map. That's why I didn't see it.
Go with the bigger radius. If you can, do the biggest radius you can.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. I was limited to 25-inch on mine, and I would have loved to have a 30-inch. I would say if you're doing an HO and you want big engines and stuff, 30 inches minimum. Just depends on what you're going to run on it, I think. You can get away with stuff if you're using smaller engines. Like I sold Bernard the Challenger that I had because even though it ran on the 25-inch radius, it was too big for the layout. It just didn't fit with the look on there. Any place it looked like it looked like the big boy on a 7.5-inch track.
Yeah, my suggestion would be to figure out which piece of equipment requires the largest radius, and then find out before you ever begin what radius you can get away with.
Yeah.
And go with that size and anything bigger.
Yeah. Yeah, and
you will never
go as big
regret
as possible.
And his name is Scott. Okay. Well, welcome to the show,
wants to know, he's trying to read my shirt. Oh, he's trying to read Dennis's shirt. Kept you on the big screen. I have no idea what his shirt says. What's your shirt say?
Dads against daughters dating. It's my favorite shirt. I've had it since my daughters were little bitty. I'm surprised it hasn't completely wore out.
We'll see. And Dennis is in a good position to threaten the boyfriends too.
Ooh, yeah.
Since you work for the corrections department.
Yeah. Well,
tell him you can just
my
bypass
youngest
court.
and her fiance will be moving in with us in November, so we'll see how that goes.
Tell him you can just bypass court.
Yeah.
Move them right on into the facility. Yeah. Anyway. Waycross Train Spotter. I wanted to get put in a peninsula in the middle of room. Only size radius you get was 28-inch. Well, there again, depending on what you're running. If you're not running anything great big, like a big boy or a Challenger or something like that, or the great big diesels, 28 inches is fine. I run 25 on mine and it looks fine.
What's the longest car you're going to run? You know,
Yeah.
if you're going to run auto, 85-foot auto racks or whatever they are, what does that look like on a 28-inch radius? And if you don't like it,
Yeah.
go back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
But I
See,
would definitely say take a look at it before you build. Look at it. See it with your own eyes. Don't just assume that this radius will work. It might, but will you like it is the question.
Well, and the other thing you have to remember, the tighter the radius and the longer the equipment, the more clearance space you need around the curves for those longer pieces of equipment. Because they'll take out signs and stuff like that or derail because of them if you don't leave enough clearance on the sides, which will be more than what the gauge gives you, because they're going to overhang a tight curve. So you need that. Like on mine, I'm lucky that the era that I picked had short passenger cars I could use. And so I got those and they look fine on a 25 inch. Would I like to have a 30 inch? Yeah, but don't have the room. So I just stay away from anything any longer than 65-foot car. Something like that is what those.
Well, sometimes you just got to do with what you got to work with. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, if all you do is a 28, then that's all you can do.
Bernard says y'all have nothing on the main less than 30 inches because of big steam in my turbines. Yeah, that's the thing. If you've got those great big ones, you're going to have at least 30 inches, in my opinion. And even at that, you're still going to have to watch clearances on the sides of the track.
Yeah, I've got two places, give or take, that I've got 18-inch radius turns, but with my 30-foot trailers and whatever, it doesn't look bad at all.
He says 86 inch. I'm thinking he means feet.
Probably.
Yeah, that's big equipment there. Yeah, I would go as big as you can get. You're just you may have to change your track plan and do without some stuff, or get real creative with how you get your extra track in there that you want with a smaller radius, but you have a bigger radius now, so you move stuff to the inside to get it done. It can be done. I mean, I've seen all kinds of track plans where they had big sweeping curves, but they had a lot of stuff inside that was smaller radius that they had the switchers and stuff on. So that would be prototypical too. And
I was just reading that.
Nothing like answering the door on the first date for the daughter. For the daughter is on the other side. Open the door and yell, "What do you want?"
My plan was always to be cleaning some weapons.
Yeah, that always works.
Oh yeah. There's ways to get it. There's a country song out that was, played on the radio for the last year or so. It was talking about that very thing. Yeah. I'll be here cleaning my gun when you get home. Let them know you're not afraid to go back to jail, that sort of thing.
Claude, did you say you had a video or something that you?
Yes, I do. I could either show it's a little short video. I could either show that, or I can go upstairs and show you. It'd probably be a little easier, maybe.
Or you can do
problem
that.
with yeah, let me get this set up first. You got to put it on the screen. This is kind of what I was telling you guys. Been working on it. I've been trying to get it up, and it's like I told Steve and Dennis. This is something to make you want to renounce your religion. For me, anyway, because the small, little, tiny detail stuff is real hard to do anymore. Arthritis in the hands, and when I get down to small detail stuff, my hands start shaking too bad I can't get it done. So it takes a little longer.
Campbell's kit?
Okay, let's see. So the tipple here is CM kit or MC kit. I can't remember how it Miniature Creations or something like that.
Oh, yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
It was kind of an oddball
Master Creations
kit in my collection of kits. Right here, the cribbing is all scratch built. The trestle is scratch built. This is actually a Master Creations Leadville powerhouse building right here. That I picked up pretty good price, and that's what I'm using for the lower tram house. Let me get this video started. I'm kind of stopping stuff as we go. Okay, so right here you can see I had to redo the ends, cut the holes in the end walls of this upper story and run the lines through. This is just some rust colored thread that I used, and these are the buckets that I got from Berkshire Valley.
And they were white metal castings?
They're white metal castings, pretty delicate and Joe to use. An O scale, they'd be awesome. In his instructions, he gives you a sheet that shows how they did the upper and lower terminals. In general, now they were all a little bit different probably, but in general, he shows that. And so if you wanted to do all that kind of detail work, you could. I did not do that, but you could if you wanted to. There's another bucket here. The tram towers, these tram towers are also Berkshire Valley.
How many of those come with the kit?
It doesn't come with the buckets. You buy the towers and buckets separate. And you can buy them separate. The towers come in one tower at a time, or you can buy them in a double kit where you get 2 towers.
Do they provide plans?
Say again?
Do they provide plans in the kit? Or
yes.
So you could, in theory, scratch build multiple.
Yeah, your arms. They get the little white metal castings here for the rollers and stuff on them. There's a couple of, I think all of them are, all of the wood except for the cross pieces are laser cut. So it's a relatively easy kit to put together as far as the tower. But now you'll see as we go to the right here, and you can see the lines are starting to take a sharp upturn right here, which this tower would have been a lot taller in reality, probably. But of course, there again, you got to compress. But you'll see this tower over here that I had to add a lower leg on one side of it right there to get it right in here. I had to add this piece here to the tower to get it to sit on the side of the mountain. Probably should have another brace from the back to the front here, which I may add at another date. But here's another one. I have I think I have 3 empties on here showing and 4 loaded. The loadeds are on the back side, and you can't really tell that they're loaded here, but they are. And then here's the upper tower. Now this upper building here is a
boathouse from Banta Models.
Yeah, I believe that's where it's from. It's actually a sloped floor on it, and I saw it. I thought, man, that would work perfect for the upper tram for me, because I just wanted something basic that would have all the machinery stuff covered from the snow and that sort of thing.
Banta. I've seen that model. You've talked about it before, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
Who produced it.
Yeah, I don't know if Mike McCarville's in here today, but he knows. He'd know who had that. But anyway, yeah, tedious getting the thread glued to the top of the towers, and then getting and you can't really see it here because I don't think I can zoom in on this. No, can't zoom in. The wheel and the pulleys on the top, getting those set on top of that thread was probably the hardest part, especially when I'm standing on a bench, leaning over the layout with tweezers trying to get this one and this one on there. And I guess another way you could do it would be put the thread on the workbench, glue these to the thread, and then string it. But these are fairly heavy, especially the loaded ones. And so, I mean, fairly heavy in the fact that they're not just not there. They're not as light as the string. So, or the thread. So trying to get that hooked at the top and the bottom and onto the towers with that extra weight on there, I think would have been too hard to do. But anyway, that's what I was doing this last week, getting that up there. And I spent a whole afternoon trying to get that up there. And when I finally got it up, I thought, okay, I'm done for a while.
Looks good.
It was killing me. I tell you, between my back and my knees and just spending 3 or 4 hours up there with my hand doing this, trying to get those on there, and the frustration that it caused. But I'm glad it's up there, and it was something I always wanted to put on the layout. So, you know, it's done now, and I don't have to mess with it.
I may do something similar with my my mine mill. I have the idea that I might have another mine up higher that they're bringing ore down from. Just haven't made the decision yet, because I'm going to probably have the terrain in first, or a better idea of what the hillside's going to look like.
Yeah, I played with the idea of having it come from the top of the mountain where it does now across the aisle to the mines that are over on the first part of the upper deck that I did. And I was thinking, boy, that'd look really cool. You walk in there and they're hanging out across that, but they would have no support, and all it would take is just somebody stick a hand up or something, or walk in there with something that's sticking up and you tear the whole thing down. So no, didn't even go that way. But that's also why I was going to use the easy line, because that stuff stretches like 700% or something. It's crazy.
You just use thread?
I just used thread. I had to, because I used that easy line. I put that first bucket on there and it almost went to the ground. Okay. And it was like, no, this isn't going to work. So
and you couldn't stretch it tight enough that.
Well, the problem is it's kind of like a bungee cord.
Right. It's
kind of what it looks like. I mean, it's really small, but when you stretch it out like that, it starts looking like a stretched rubber band with thread around it. It looks, you can see that if you're up close, you can see it. And I thought, what's the point of stretching it real tight to get it tighter? If you're going to use that, just use thread. It would just, kill 2 birds with 1 stone right there. I'll use the easy line on the telegraph poles and stuff like that. Because that's really what it's good for, I think, is doing telegraph poles. Because you string them up there, you hit them, you can push them all the way down to the layout, and you wouldn't break any poles.
Well, can you still get the prototypical?
Yeah, I think you probably could.
Droop. You can still
I think
get
you
the
probably
prototypical
could.
droop.
You probably want to lay it out, maybe make some links out and let it lay out flat. It didn't want to curl as much as the thread did, though. The thread was worse.
Really?
Yeah. If I was going to do the thread again, I would probably take the strings, and I thought about this later, and wet them real good and see if they would lay out, or maybe even stretch them out, pin them down until they dry to get the curl out of them. But there again, it's so steep coming down off that top deal down to that bottom deal. It's really not prototypical, because they wouldn't run like that. They would want to, that cable on top would want to come off and be up above. So, but it works for the illusion of what I wanted, and it looks pretty neat in person. It looks a lot better than it does in photos. But that's what I worked on this week. And then I put a few more people on the upper deck, and I put a couple more street lights in, that sort of thing. But that's all I did this week. So anyway,
Well, that's a lot.
it felt like a lot more than it
Well,
is. I
to
tell you
me.
what.
Seems like a lot.
Yeah.
I can't remember what all I had completed, when I showed what I had been doing last week. I know I've gotten a few more things done if anybody wants to see.
Well, yeah, I want to see.
Okay.
We don't care about all those people. I want to see.
Nah.
Well, while you're doing that, I'll look for some more names that I don't have now.
Well, Gary Shanks, that's a new one.
That's a new one. Get Gary down.
Good morning, Gary.
Guys, and while he's walking over there, I'll remind you again real quick. The drawing will be next week. The first drawing will be next week, and we'll draw three names, give gift certificates to. And you won't have to be here, but if you're not here for the live show, watch the replay, because I'm going to give you some information that you need to have, the winners need to have to get your gift certificate. So, okay, Dennis, all yours.
Let's see.
He's lost already.
So the staging yard is in. And this is a standard gauge locomotive. So, and it's all thanks to Lynn. The entire train, except for the caboose, I think came from Lynn. Of course, I haven't cleaned any of the track yet. But it's all in. Now, had I done any of this last week? Anybody remember? I can't remember. But when I put this in after getting the track laid, I accidentally ripped up about that much of the rail, because when I put it in, it caught on my shirt, and it was supposed to go down, and instead it went like this, and it caught these two rails, ripped everything up. So I was able to repair that. Now here's I got a question, a problem that I can't quite figure out, and it's interesting. So I've got my the bus is coming in here. So all of this is lit up to right here, and it doesn't go any forward beyond that. Now I've got everything in here wired up and ready to go, but nothing's connected yet. So the electricity comes in, and it does connect to this turnout.
Hey, Dennis,
Yeah.
hang on a second. Your mic is, I don't know if you got your hand over it.
Oh, I probably did. I don't know.
There you go. Okay. You're good now.
So all of this is gapped right here. Every bit of it's gapped. But for some reason, I can drive my locomotive all the way down to the end of the time saver, and it has to be backfeeding through here, but I haven't figured out how in the hell is it backfeeding all the way through this turnout. Of course, I don't know if I can, it probably won't do it now.
So you getting a short there?
Well, I just did have a short, but I think that was just, I'll try and do that. It probably won't do it since I'm actually got people watching.
No.
And I haven't made a point to clean any of the track because I just got finished with it yesterday.
Was it actually shorting or just the engine just stopping?
The engine had just stopped.
Yeah, it could be dirty wheels on the engine, could be dirty on the track.
But why do I have electricity? Why do I have DCC all the way?
All the way down
into the time saver when you can see where my gaps are. So in theory, I've got nothing going to the outside rail, right?
Yeah.
I can understand that I would have juice coming to the outside rail, right?
Yeah.
But this inside rail, I'm at a loss for how in the world. It's just a mystery to me because I've got nothing going beyond this point right here.
Is it one of your elusive track nails?
I mean, I suppose that
Shouldn't
maybe,
be.
but I would think I would have a direct short.
Are you getting continuity on that inside rail?
You mean
over the gap?
Well, I mean, I shouldn't be, right?
Well, no, you shouldn't be. But have you tried it?
No, I haven't. I haven't tried anything yet because, I mean, it's not a problem, right?
Okay, wait. Zoom back in there. Okay, now hold it right there a second. Okay, you're missing. Well, that's okay. You got the gap there and got the gap there.
No,
I don't know. It looks good.
I do have, metal rail joiners, but again, I'm gapped there. And now I do have a feeder drop here, but there's nothing.
Nothing hooked to it?
That feeder drop is not connected yet because I haven't run my jumper from here to here where it's going to be. Now I hadn't noticed that yet. Okay, this is weird. So I'm definitely back feeding in, but I just can't figure out how. It has to be at this turnout. There's got to be some kind of function that's going on in here. I don't know.
Did you have a problem a while back, Dennis, with current traveling through the plywood or something with a track nail?
Yeah, but so since that happened, before I lay these, every one of them gets a gap on the bottom side. So that's not an issue in this case. I think Gerald's probably got it right. Maybe it's back feeding through the turnout, because I am connected at the turnout. That's probably exactly right. The second I take the blue and the white wire out of the turnout, I bet I lose all juice down here.
Yeah.
That has to be what it is.
Yeah, you could just unplug that adapter on there.
Let's see. Nope. She's still steaming.
Wow. Now you don't have any power plugged into the time saver, right?
Do what?
You don't have the time saver on.
No, the time saver hasn't worked in months. I can't even throw a turnout on the time saver right now. It's got no power to it whatsoever. So the electricity has to be coming through that turnout somehow, some way.
Roy wanted to know if you had a keep alive in the tender, but even at that, it's going to run out eventually.
Nope. No keep alive in that thing.
I would just get the voltmeter out and start checking things, taking stuff loose. That's how I have to find shorts. Just get the voltmeter out and start
short.
changing stuff.
It's weird. It's absolutely weird.
I don't know. You got me. Without being able to be there and actually start doing stuff to it, I couldn't guess.
Yeah. I might fiddle with it a little bit later on just to see, but right now everything's working. So far, I've found one standard gauge car that obviously the wheel is out of gauge because it wants to take the diverging route, but everything else is going through there exactly like it's supposed to. So this is all good and ready to go. Eventually I'll come in here and I don't know if I'll extend it out here, make it all even and put some kind of anti-fall off the end kind of stuff on it eventually.
Yeah, just stick a piece of 1x up there or something,
Yeah.
keep it from rolling off the end.
But hopefully before the end of this weekend, I'll have the narrow gauge track aligned through there and maybe some spline where it's supposed to go. And for sure, my plan today is to take care of all of the rest of the wiring in here for the time saver, get it to where it will work. Because, you know, like I say, I don't have any power going to it, so none of the turnouts work, which means I'm going to have to run a bus for the DC, not the DCC, but the LCC will come from over here. I haven't run that yet because that's what it's going to take to get the time saver to work.
Well, I would,
haven't.
before you start wiring that time saver back in, I would find that short first or find out what's happening there. Because you go to wire that and it's, you know, either doing the same thing or doing something different. Now you're going to be going, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah. I don't know. It's definitely odd. There has to be maybe I will find out what's wrong the second I start throwing that turnout. I haven't thrown the turnout. Let me do that.
Well, Wilmer says, wow, Dennis, I thought I was the only one that had mysteries like that. Oh, Wilmer, come to my place, man.
Hey,
I've had so many. I usually find them, but you know, and it's usually something stupid that I did or didn't do.
I threw the turnout and it didn't change anything.
Maybe your layout's haunted.
That's the only thing I can figure.
Yeah,
I need to
probably
mute
so.
that. I haven't done anything with that locomotive. It is so loud.
Well, I've got a haunted school bus. Maybe your layout is.
Yeah, I mean, even the DCC's working all the way through there. You know, it's just kind of odd that I can control that locomotive where it's sitting without any wiring going to that location. It's just very odd. That's what I've got accomplished.
Well, looking good.
Yeah. No, seriously, I think my bus is haunted. Because I've got a window on the door side of the bus that the same every day, the same spot within 3 houses, the window drops down and opens. Happens every morning.
I'd ask for another bus.
No, I'm serious. Even the little kindergartners go up, window's gonna fall down, and boom, it does. Same spot every day.
Is there a bump there or something?
Well, the whole road's bumpy, but it's at the same spot.
That's weird.
Yeah, within 3 houses. It's like, oh crap.
Gerald says 3-rail switch may be a strange wiring problem. It's not, Gerald. It's the only difference is you have to be very careful, and you do with a regular turnout too. You got to be careful where you where your gaps are. Now, the other thing, Dennis, you might have something in the gap. I found a track spike laying in the slot in the gap one time, and that's what was causing my short. So
I would think I would have a short though. That's the thing.
Yeah,
it's not
that's
a
true.
short. It's allowing.
Yeah, but it wouldn't if it's in the right gap. If it's it could even be in the gap that you've cut in the rail.
If I threw the switch though, it should.
Yeah,
of course,
true.
I had the controller disconnected when I threw the switch that time. I'll look into that. I'm sure Gerald's right. There's something going on there that I'm getting continuity where, and maybe I should have continuity, and it's doing exactly what it should be doing. I just wasn't expecting it to have that much continuity. I don't know.
Yeah, does it do it with a different engine? Maybe it's the engine.
That's the only DCC standard gauge locomotive I've got.
Well, I don't know. Well, if you've got a regular DC, and got a old transformer, stick that
I might
on there.
try that.
See if
I
it
might
does
try
the same thing that way on another engine.
I can't imagine it wouldn't. The only difference between DC and DCC is DC is variable. You know, you have to turn it up where you've got a constant. I think it's 28 or not 18 volts, depending on how you have it set up. And then there's little packets of messages going through it. You know, that's the only difference.
But
how it translates from rail to rail should be the same.
Yeah, but it would let you use a non-DCC engine on it if you've got one to check it that way. So, I mean, that would be a one trick you could try. But I would get the multimeter. If it's me, that's the first thing I'd do is I'd get the train off the track and check it with multimeter in every configuration I can think of, and look and find where there's a continuity through there. You don't even have to look for a short; just look for the continuity on it.
Yeah.
What about
that's the other thing I haven't really looked at. You've got the way the frogs are gapped in there. You've got one that's fully gapped and one that's half gapped. I put my frog wire. I just put one frog wire in because I wasn't entirely sure how it worked. I put it in where the double gap was because I knew without a doubt that particular location had to change polarity. I just wasn't sure about the other half frog, so to speak. I wasn't sure whether maybe it would always have the correct polarity on the side that's gapped.
That might be.
I didn't put a drop there.
That might be where it is. If you don't have that other gap.
What about taking the turnout off and re-gapping it?
Well, again, if it was a dead short, I would be thinking things a little bit differently. And the second that I find out that it causes a problem, then I'll go to the next extreme that I need to. But I'm relatively sure that it's gapped exactly like it's supposed to be because I looked at the Fast Tracks. I looked at the Fast Tracks gapping guide and gapped it exactly the way it was supposed to be.
Yeah. I don't know.
Unless maybe
like I said, without being right there
incorrectly, I'll go back and make sure that I didn't look at it wrong. But
like I say, the first place I would start is get the multimeter out, put it on continuity, and start hitting the rails and finding out where you're got continuity over a gap.
Where I don't have continuity that I should have continuity, or vice versa.
No, you shouldn't have. Yeah, you shouldn't have.
Right.
Over the gap. That's what I'm saying. But checking right there over those gaps, because there's something in there that's letting it get across. It's got to be. It's got to be that. I can't imagine what else. I would take the train all the way off the track, all the cars, everything on that while I was checking it though.
I bet it's in the cross ties beyond the gap.
Yeah, it almost has to be. Almost has to be. You may have. I
would still think I would be getting a direct short there. I should be getting a direct short. If it's a cross tie.
No, it's got to be crossing the gap down the rails. What it's got to be.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems I haven't been able to figure it out. It's not logical to me yet.
Yeah. Well, that's what you do is you get frustrated with it. You go to something else, and then you come back and check it. And a lot of times it's right there in front of you, and then you're going, oh, I can't believe it. Didn't see that, or I did that, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done it. I don't know how many times I did it on my layout. And what's really frustrating is right after you put new track in, everything else is working fine. You put that one piece of new track in, could be 2 foot long, and all of a sudden nothing works. And it's like, okay, I know it's got to be simple, but where the hell is it?
Yeah.
It's frustrating
Yeah.
sometimes.
When I first lit it up, I did have a dead short because I forgot to gap one of my ties in the standard gauge turnout. But I fixed that in the first 30 seconds because that's usually always where it is. But then the whole thing with having power beyond what's obviously gapped is still confusing to me.
Yeah, it would be to me too. But there again, you know, your brain is saying, I know it's this way and it shouldn't be doing that. But obviously it's not that way. So it's getting out of that mindset that it is properly done and finding where you missed it. Because there's got to be something in there that's missed. I mean, it's only explanation. Other than
Well,
that, you
I
got
think
a ghost in your
the
house.
first thing I'm going to do is probably go ahead and jump across and see if that doesn't create a problem. I can't imagine it would, but everything should work appropriately the way it's supposed to. Then, you know, I should have power going everywhere else because I've got feeder drops beyond those gaps. It has to be back feeding into them. That's the only thing I can figure.
Yeah. Oh, well. I'd like to say, I don't know what it is, but it's going to be something simple and you're going to find it in, you know, you'll definitely find it at some point.
Yeah, Gerald's right. It can't be a rail to A to B crossover because it would be
No,
a
it would be a
dead
dead
short.
short. Yeah. It's a continuity problem. And there's
Again,
some
I'm not
places
convinced it's a problem. It's a continuity mystery.
head scratcher.
I'm not convinced it's a problem. It's a mystery to me at this point.
Yeah, because it shouldn't be doing. You're right. It shouldn't be going any further than that. But it still is. So, oh well. Some of the fun things with model railroads, and of course, the bigger you get, and you're doing it the right way. I wish I'd have done mine like you've done yours, not with the LCC necessarily, but just that meticulous with the wiring. I was the kind that I was in a rush to get my track down.
Been there, done
That's
that.
working good.
Paid
But
for
then
it.
the wiring. No,
Yeah,
see, in some places I did do
All
good.
the number of times I was underneath my in-scale layout going, what the?
Exactly.
I'm never going to do that again.
Yeah, exactly.
With my hands in the air, you know, going, oh.
Yeah,
Let the
yeah.
blood get back in.
I put bench work down. I put sub road bed down. I laid track, and then I went back to start wiring. And you know, just in some places I just did it fast just to make sure it was
Well, you
working.
can see a train go. Yeah.
And it's still that way, you know.
Don't look under mine.
Of course, my brain says if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? You know. And in the case of wiring, most of the time, you're never going to touch it again. Nothing should ever happen to it, but it doesn't mean it won't. Yeah, like Steve's got there. That's a big reason right there, Steve, for having DCC.
Yep. Yeah.
It's getting rid of all that mess.
Yeah. Try to find a problem there.
Yeah. But
yeah,
you know, it pays to be anal about all that kind of stuff to start with, because it makes it a lot easier to find stuff. But it doesn't keep it from happening.
No.
You know, you still have a problem that you got to find now, you know, but it does make it easier sometimes to find it.
In my opinion, being able to do it on the workbench, it lends so much more patience in the process of doing it. You know, where laying on my back, looking up, you know, I get impatient real quick, and then you just look for the quickest, easiest way to get it over and done with so that you don't have to mess with it. Where if you're looking down at your work and you can get to both sides of it and you can just take your time and do it right because you have no expectations of seeing the train run right now because it's in the workbench, not on the layout.
Yeah.
That's why I like doing it that way.
Yeah. And I tried to do my upper deck, the last part of the upper deck that I did. I tried to do it that way. Thankfully, the upper deck on the other side of the mining district, there's not that much wiring there. So it's much easier. Now, I haven't started on lights over there yet. Light wiring is another fun thing to do because those little LED lamp posts and all that stuff, the wire on it, I don't know what gauge it is, but it's so fine that my big fat fingers trying to grab them.
32 gauge.
Oh, something like that. It's like human hairs, trying to put human hairs in a terminal post, and it's just like, no. So I have to do that just little bits at a time because I get too frustrated and too tired trying to do it. And once I start shaking, because I've been there too long, I got to quit or I'm going to tear everything out. So I did finally get the upper deck lit on the town up there. Most of that's done now. I still have a few I got to put in the yard lights that I want to put in the yard. But then I've got to move to the bottom deck, which has the majority of lights not hooked up yet. So they're there, but they're not hooked up yet.
I think I'm going to get one of those. I can't think of what it's called, but it's an LCC light hub. I think it's 16 channel. I can't remember how many channels it has. I say channel, line is probably the correct terminology, but I think it's ready to go that you can plug in one of the just plug things that Woodland Scenics has. I haven't looked at it closely, but then you have the capacity to do everything in your LCC node that you could do normally. So you can base it off of your fast clock. If you want your street lights to come on in association with your fast clock, you can. Building lights come on when you want them to come on, go off when you want. Eventually I will do that. I think everything moving forward for sure, I'm going to try and plan for that so that I can get back underneath the railroad and make that happen without too much pain. It'll be easy with the time saver because it's all there hanging down. But I think that's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, we got a couple of minutes left. I want to remind everybody, the first drawing is next week. We'll draw 3 names. So if you can't see the live show, make sure you watch the replay, because if you're in the chat today or make a comment on this show after the fact, you will get in the drawing, and it's going to be next week. And I'm going to go back over the list. I got everybody from last week already, and I'll go over and make sure I don't have any duplicates or anything like that. But we're going to do the drawing next week for gift certificates. Anyway, that's that. Also, Jerry bought a shirt from Teespring, one of our shirts. Wasn't this one, but one of the shirts. And he got a 3X, and he said it felt like a 2X, which sometimes happens, depends on the manufacturer of the shirt, because I know a lot of shirts anymore are way smaller than what they say they are. If that happens to you, contact Teespring and they will replace it. And they won't even ask you to ship the old one back. So don't abuse it, because if that starts happening, they'll probably cut all that off. But if you do get one that's not the right size, I know I did it one time. I contacted them. I ordered it wrong. They didn't even have me send it back. They just said, give it to somebody that can use it. And they sent me a new shirt for no cost. So if you do get the wrong size when you order, just, contact them and they'll take care of it for you. Anyway,
Mark needs to explain his comment there where he says the CB&Q in Wyoming is going by way of the dodo. If he's moving again.
going the way of the dodo. Extinct?
Maybe I'm reading that wrong. Maybe it's the doo-doo. Maybe he's doing something again. He's doing again. I don't know.
Now, wait a minute. This is Mark saying this and not Dave, right?
He says he's moving across town.
Moving across town?
What?
You've got to be kidding me, Mark.
Mark.
Boy, you are a glutton for punishment. I thought Bill was bad. I think Mark's taking that crown from him. Oh, wow. Oh, well, anyway. I guess we'll find out the particulars later. I mean, maybe we have to have him on next week and get him to.
Yeah.
It will rise again. The CB&Q in Wyoming will rise again.
Oh, Dave. See, this is why I was making sure it was Mark said it, not Dave. Anyway, that's our time, guys. We'll see you next week, and we'll do the drawing and give away some stuff. And anyway, till then, enjoy the rest of your weekend and your week. And thanks, Steve and Dennis, for being here. Hopefully, Bill will be back next week, and we'll see y'all later.
Bye.
Yep.